Hello, it's Martin from Wisely Automotive, and I am sitting in one of our Porsche Taycans. This in particular is the turbo spec, so we thought it would be appropriate to go through the options list, because just like any other German manufacturer, the list of options is quite long, and some of them have very cryptic names. So hopefully you find this video useful when you are picking out what to spend your hard-earned money on. I have the spec sheet for this particular car on my phone, so let's run through it now. As I said, this Taycan has the turbo drivetrain. Now it can be quite tempting to skip through the first 3 pages of standard equipment, but what you have to keep in mind is that the turbo does not only mean that the car gets its 625 horsepower, but it also gets some equipment as standard, which the lower end versions of the Taycan do not get. So if you're cross-shopping, make sure that you are aware of the differences. Let me highlight just a few. Most importantly, the Performance Battery Plus is included on the Turbo but is not on the 4S and the base Taycan. This means that with the bigger battery you will realistically get about 220 miles of range, even at motorway speeds. That is not the case for the smaller battery, and if you want to upgrade the smaller battery, it's about a £4,000 option. The other one worth noting is the Porsche surface coated brake. This really makes sense in an electric car because during normal city driving day-to-day conditions, you will most likely only use regenerative braking to slow the car down, meaning the physical brake pads never clean the discs. So it's a nice option to have. All Taycans get LED headlights as standard, but the higher end versions like this one get the matrix LED headlights. This means that when you turn on your high beam, the car can detect other traffic and block out parts of the high beam, so you can still drive with high beams on without dazzling other drivers. One thing which you will be glad to hear if you are an electric car driver is that a heat pump is included as standard. A heat pump is basically just an efficient way of heating up the cabin in the winter. So even though there's going to be a slight range decrease, it shouldn't be too significant. In terms of seats, all Taycans get electric front seats as standard, but the higher end versions get 14-way adjustable seats, meaning you get electrically adjusted lumbar support, and the seat base can extend, so if you are tall, your thighs can be nicely supported. In terms of driver assistance systems and safety, like all modern cars really, a camera in the windshield is standard, scanning the road ahead, meaning you get lane keeping assistance, frontal collision avoidance, and traffic sign recognition. You also get front and rear parking sensors. All Taycans come with the iconic 3-screen setup in the cockpit. You've got a standard central infotainment screen. Lower down in the central console, you get a screen with haptic feedback dedicated just to air conditioning settings. And right behind the steering wheel, you get a curved driver's instrument display, which you can configure to your liking to, for example, display the navigation instructions. While we are on the topic of infotainment, the Turbo spec gets the 14-speaker Bose sound system as standard. You also get CarPlay in case you do not want to use the Porsche sat-nav system, and 2 USB-C ports in the front and 2 in the back. Now the juicy bit, the optional equipment. You can get metallic paint, in this case the Dolomite Silver metallic paint, for free at the time of filming of this video. This car has the quite sporty looking two-tone red and black leather interior. Going back outside, it's specified with the Sport Design package. This is a bundle of design elements to make the car look even more aggressive. So for example, in this case, the front splitter is finished in high gloss black, so are the side skirts, and there's additional high gloss black trim on the rear diffuser. Now the next option is the one which I would recommend getting no matter what Taycan you are buying, because even on a £100,000 car you still need to pay for electric folding exterior mirrors. That's 200 pounds, but really that should be a standard on a car of this class. To go nicely with the sport design pack and the relatively light exterior paint, the window surrounds have been spec'd in high gloss black as well. Even if you don't miss driving combustion engine cars and you've had an EV for a while, I wholeheartedly recommend getting the Porsche electric sports sound. All of us at Wisely absolutely love it. It's done very tastefully, sounds very natural, it makes the Taycan sound like an absolute spaceship, and it doesn't only get pumped into the interior through the speaker system, but people can also hear it outside. If you don't like it, you can just turn it off. That's £354. Porsche Dynamic Chassis Control Sport is an almost £2,500 option. This is one of those nice to haves which makes the Taycan a Taycan. In normal non-Porsche marketing speak, it means that it has active anti-roll bars, so the car stays nice and flat even when you're going quickly through corners. On top of that, for £1,600 you can also get rear axle steering. It's quite difficult to spot from the outside, but what the car does is that at low speeds it aids maneuvering by turning the rear wheels in opposite direction to the front wheels. This makes parking even such a relatively large car quite easy, but at motorway speeds, for example, the rear wheels are turned the same way as the front wheels to aid in stability. So you get the best of both worlds. The Sport Chrono package for just under £800 includes the iconic Porsche Sport Watch on the dashboard for timing your laps and the rotating mode selector right on the steering wheel. The next one is a matter of taste, but if you loved the Mission E concept from Porsche from a couple of years ago, you will love the 21-inch Mission E design wheels. They are very minimal, very open, and you can get them color matched to the bodywork. Next option, just a smidge over £1,000, is the full glass roof. It does not open, but it does let a lot of light in, and it's tinted to prevent you getting sunburned in the summer. For £480 you get a reversing camera on top of the standard front and rear parking sensors. Comfort access, so you can walk up to the car, touch the door handle and the car opens without you having to take the key out, is £774. In the world of COVID, a useful option might be the ionizer. It keeps the air inside the cabin clear for only £200. Customizable ambient lighting is £300. You get LED strips tastefully illuminating the front and rear door cards, the footwells and the cup holders. The storage package brings in additional storage options, for example underneath the center console and just in front of the middle seat in the back. Very crucially, the Taycan only comes as a 2+2 as standard, so it's a 4-seater car. If you want 5 seats, you can get a 5-seat configuration, but that's a £336 extra. To go with that, if you want to keep your rear passengers comfortable, you can get 4-zone climate control. The 2 rear zones are controlled directly from the back from a small touchscreen in between the seats. If 3 screens are not enough for you, you can get an optional 4th screen in the front for the front passenger. This is quite useful if you, for example, want to let your passenger handle the infotainment system, like putting in sat-nav destinations or choosing radio stations. The very elegant powered charging port cover which hides into the front wing, that's £443. Now, somewhat cryptically named 150 kilowatt DC onboard booster for £294. It depends, it may become standard in the future because it's quite a crucial option, but if you can definitely specify it, the Taycan being quite a new electric car and using the higher power 800 volt architecture for the battery and the motors, it needs this power converter to charge as fast as it can from older lower power 400 volt chargers. Without it, it can only charge at 50 kilowatts, so I personally think it's money very well spent because it's going to significantly cut your journey time. And finally, the last 2 options are charging cables. You've got the Mobile Charger Connect, which is a charging cable for your domestic plug with a 3-pin on one side and the car connector on the other end. And for £210 you get a charging cable to use with slow public charging stations. That brings the total to just above £135,000, but as I said, this is an example of a very well specified car. The question is, what options would you go for? Definitely let us know in the comments. We are always interested in hearing what other people like. And with that said, thank you for watching and see you in the next one.